on. Good evening on this beautiful wintry evening. Welcome to our Wednesday Village meeting. We'll stand for the pledge and we will start the meeting a few minutes late. Sorry. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. That's you guys. Does anybody have announcements?
Trustee Fritchie.
Oh, sorry.
No
Present.
problem. Trustee White,
Present.
trustee Quesada,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Lopez,
Present.
Mayor Levin.
Present. You okay there? You have enough lights?
It's dark over there.
You- It's dark where you're sitting. Are
No,
you good?
that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, public hearing in the matter of proposed local law 2023 titled A Local Law Amending Chapter 91 Building Constructions of the Village of Ossining Code by identifying a new article for reimbursement for professional service and amending section 9122 payment for the cost of professional services. Any comments?
Okay,
Jamie, do we have anybody?
I'm looking at,
We have three people here. If any of the people in the gallery would like to raise their hands, I can bring you over to make your comments.
specific to this public hearing.
Just specific to just this public hearing, and they can speak on this one, the next public hearing, and then there's another comment period after that with regards to the rest of the agenda. It doesn't look like anyone is raising their hands.
Okay, so do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So move. Second.
Any comments from the board? No?
No. Okay, public hearing and.
No, 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 no,
Gotta take
no,
the
no.
vote.
Now you got to
Oh.
take the vote.
Okay.
Is it a, no, it's not a roll. It's
No,
just,
well,
All those in favor?
yeah.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, public hearing in the matter of proposed local law 2023 title A Local Law Amending Chapter 241 of the Village of Ossining Code.
Do
Any,
we have anybody on Zoom coming in?
We do
that
have three
raised-
people, but would any of the folks that are in the gallery like to participate and comment on this particular portion of the public hearing? If you would, please raise your hand, your virtual hand. Yeah, it doesn't look like anybody's raising their hand.
And there's nobody seated here, so we're gonna go on that. Are there any comments from the board?
I just wanted to, Stuart, if you could explain or elaborate what law is for this particular section.
This is the firefighters and volunteer ambulance workers tax exemption.
Thank you.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 I abstain.
Staying.
Did we have,
Richie.
Okay, do we have,
We didn't.
we actually have the motion?
do we
No,
have
we
a
did not.
motion?
Okay,
No,
so let's start again. Can we have a
Okay.
motion to close the public hearing?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I abstain again.
Okay, mayor and trustee announcements?
Thank you. Let me start from my right. Is there any mayor or trustee announcements?
It's March 1, right?
It is March
That
1.
means
Go
it's
ahead and
Women's
say it.
History Month. Woo! And it's also, there's a First Friday event this Friday night put on by the Chamber and New Builds, and there'll be stuff going on all around town. I think there's a couple more days left in the Black History exhibit at Bethany, and if you have not seen it, you must get over there. I went to a jazz performance there the other night, and they do a lot of fun interactive stuff, and they had, it was kind of recreating the opening of the Rising Sun Golf Club, which was a Black country club in the 30s, a very fancy country club. And so there was jazz and there were people in costume, and it was really great. And it was Ted Daniels and Kendall Buchanan and some of the folks we know who are musicians, and they have formed the Ossining Village Jazz Collective. So that's very exciting. Watch out for them.
And they're great.
And they're great. Yes. No, that's it.
I just want to say that I won't name names, but one of them is so good that he can't be on any of our committees anymore. He used to volunteer for committees. He's so busy as a jazz musician. I don't want to, shame him into joining one of our committees, but I'm glad that post-COVID, he's become really busy as a jazz musician coordinator. So it's good for people in Austining to be out there. We're loving that. Is that it? Great.
Good.
You're good. Looking to my left, everybody's good. Okay, so Dana took a couple of pieces away. I just wanted to sort of do an update that the manager and I and our engineers and Andy was there too from water. We're always looking for new ideas, solar ideas, environmental ideas, et cetera, et cetera. So a few days ago, the manager and I met. On my request, I had received some information from Sustainable Westchester, of which we're a longtime member. Maddie Sahaj oftentimes sits on the weekly, monthly, daily, however many meetings on the many projects we work with them on. Because we are involved with them on a number of fronts, and we're a member. They came to us with an idea that they had seen about a floating solar possibility, which we looked at for near our water plant in the reservoir. It was really interesting. It doesn't look like it's exactly something we'd be interested in. Other communities with much larger, much more remote environments are probably more suitable for this. It's a new idea out there. It does affect fowl movement. It does affect, the birds and the bees and all that. But it's worth looking at. And I only want to share this, A, because I didn't get a chance to tell the trustees that we did that. B, it's probably not going to go far, but it's important for people to know that the staff is continuously looking for new ideas, how to make things happen. And when I get a new idea floated my way, we do see a lot of people. We only talk really at these meetings about things that move forward. But there are a lot of things that we look at, and then I think we don't do a good job, frankly, communicating all of the things that come our way, which we say no to right away. Some we investigate and then say, oh, maybe yes, maybe no. So this was, it was really, like, in concept, really interesting. There aren't very many in the US yet. There are some, but not many. There are a lot of startups that seem to be involved in it to perfect that science and think about how to use, water, bodies of water that aren't used by people, and how to then take into account nature. And if there are housing around the reservoir, some don't, but some have, how do you deal with people and all of that stuff? So sort of interesting, if anybody else follows that. That was one thing. Yes, the Women's History Month, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. We'll try to share as we get to know. And if anybody in the community is doing things that are interesting in Austining, you should let Jamie Hoffman know, who does a lot of communication, and the trustees, if you want us to either attend, et cetera, we'd be happy to get the word out to everybody. So I think that was it for me for now.
Administrative reports. Village management, Karen DeTore.
Thank you. So I want to give some updates. As you all know, we have some projects, many major projects looming here, but we are starting to move ahead on a few of them. So certainly the Five Corners, that construction work will start in the spring. So we'll be seeing the renovated Five Corners there, and there's a diagram located on a sign right there so that if you're walking by, you can see what it will look like in the future, the very near future. But we also just
Do
received.
we have spring? Is it March? Is it April? Is it May?
This is not March. It's like,
Not this
like
month.
I probably closer to late spring, summer, but it will be done.
Do you think
as-
it'll be done in 2023?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think it'll definitely be done well,
Is my mic
as sure
on?
as I,
It'll be done in
as sure as I can
2023?
be about anything being done. All signs are pointing to yes. it
Okay,
should
so-
be
and we're
done.
gonna try to
I
deal
can't,
with
there's a
events.
lot of things
Baseball
outside of our control, but this looks like it should be done by the end of 2023. So.
Okay.
So we did get word as you know, we had $4 million we were granted $4 million of funding, which was designated for the Route 9 road diet via the federal omnibus bill. And we have received word from the New York State Department of Transportation that the money from the federal government will flow through the state government, through the DOT. So we just received a whole bunch of paperwork from the DOT that I am working on getting out to, we're getting back to them on, and this is all preliminary paperwork to start the process rolling. We anticipate that this project is going to get started pretty quickly, though. So the design phase will start this year. It is unlikely that we'll get to the construction phase in 2023, but certainly 2024 we'll start construction on the road diet. So of our next group of major projects, that one will lead the way. And this is sort of fortuitous because the road diet will provide, it will narrow Route 9 from from Cedar Lane to Cedar Place, which is right near Nelson Park, and then Cedar Lane on the north end is near the former A.L. Myers Furniture Store. So where Route 9 is now 4 lanes, it will go down to 2 lanes with parking on either side. And we're looking at ways to, again, facilitate greater bikeability as well as walkability, and how that works exactly. We'll be working on that. It'll be a big component of the design phase. We will be looking to do public engagement around the project. But that will help us because it will provide some parking when we look to do our next round of projects, which involve parking lots. So we also met with representatives from Department of State today to discuss, so staff and our representatives from Department of State in charge of the Downtown Revitalization Initiative, DRI. We met because we want to get a sense of when we're going to be getting work plans from the state. And now that looks like it will be May. We thought it would be earlier, but that's taking a little bit of time on the state side. The work plans will help inform the process that we have to go through. But in the meantime, we have done some work to get the ball rolling. So we've grouped the projects that are village sponsored into 3 segments. So Market Square and the multimodal hub development is one grouping of projects. The second is the Joseph G. Caputo Community Center renovation, and the third is Station Plaza streetscaping. So we're prioritizing the design and construction of the multimodal hub component of our Main Street Market Square redevelopment efforts, since the continuous provision of adequate parking in our downtown is going to be important, and that's got to precede any of the development that we do on the Market Square site or the post office surface parking lots. As we design the multimodal hub, we can also start community engagement around Market Square and the mixed-use development so that we can anticipate parking needs to the full extent possible. And this will also require some coordination with Open Doors renovation plans, which should be actually getting started much sooner. And as well as plans for the Olive Opera House, which will also be renovating. Most of their renovations is internal to the inside the building, but the uses that they may be doing would impact parking as well. So we're working on making sure that we're in constant communication with people who are doing projects that we're not directly involved in, as well as the projects we're directly involved in. And we're sort of setting that up so that when we hit the ground running, we will be able to make sure that we're really mitigating the disruption of these projects, maximizing the collective impact of them, and also managing cash flow, because these are all drawdown grants where we have to expend funds to be able to be reimbursed for those funds. We also discussed the decarbonization strategies that will be part of the community center renovation as required by NYSERDA and the DRI. So within the next week or 2, we'll be meeting with representatives of NYSERDA so that we have a full understanding of what the expectations are, so that that can be incorporated into the RFPs that we will then be issuing to solicit design consultants for the project. We will also be looking to issue RFPs for designs for the multimodal hub at the same time, probably we're issuing them for the community center. And this way, we can be sure that we're working, that the designs are informing each other, that, you know, we're working as smartly and intelligently as possible on these things, because we already know parking's an issue at the community center too. So there's opportunities there to leverage. But once we get the designs done, then we can coordinate the actual timing of the project construction. So again, that we minimize inconvenience and disruption, we maximize the impact, and we also address cash flow issues that we're going to be having, since these are drawdown grants. We think that for the Station Plaza streetscaping project, which is not quite as intense a project as the other two groupings. But really, to make sure that we're doing our best job there, we would want to coordinate with the construction of 30 Water Street, the all affordable mixed-use housing project down there, because the developer there is required to do streetscaping along Water Street. So it would be really good to make sure, as we're designing this, there's a real flow, and that we're maximizing the opportunity, because there we really have a lot of opportunities to do things that would facilitate businesses that want to do outdoor dining and do things in a different way, as we look to enhance that area. So we also have, as you know, the
Sorry, Karen. So can you kind of go back a little bit, because when you brought up 30 Water Street, I wanted have a little bit more of understanding what is the time period for that particular project as well.
So 30 Water Street has all their approvals. There is an issue that they're trying to resolve that I did write the board about. They're having an issue with, the remediation that's a brownfield site. So they have to resolve an issue with Con Edison based on the agreement we have that Con Edison needs to do remediation for this project to start. So while I can't, that's delaying the project a little. I would think that we're looking at groundbreaking either in 2023 or 2024. It's a little bit hard to say, because this is a new issue that just came up that we hadn't anticipated. That's a little bit out of our control. So,
And I'm sorry, when you said all the approvals, you mean, and I don't want to deviate of the conversation, but when you're talking about approvals, so all the zoning board approvals, all the planning board, architecture review board, environmental, all that stuff was approved already?
They've been through everything. I think there's some final work that's dependent on the remediation that for the final conditions, but other than that, they've gone through the process. So they're
Okay.
essentially ready to go. Again, this, just for the public's benefit, this is a development at the current refuse organic waste yard down on Water Street that's owned by the village. It is a former Con Edison site from the 40s, I believe, was when Con Edison was last year. They are rather, but they did leave remnants of their work. So that all has to be remediated.
That it was a gas plant.
Yeah, so there's definitely some significant remediation that needs to happen for this to be a viable site. So that's, we're working with a lot of bureaucracy on this. So
I understand. So I think for me, when you said we're not sure what happens, obviously with Con Ed itself, it seems like we won't have a clear answer maybe for another 2 or 3 months, if anything.
it's really hard to say. So,
I'm just saying, because we've been waiting for this, or they've
I
been
mean,
waiting for
again,
this.
we just found out, so I can't really commit to timing because I have no long,
So that's what I want to say, because you're coordinating the landscape of a project that we really don't have any timeline. So I
well,
want to be clear.
so to understand, the DRI projects don't necessarily have to be done this year. You have about a 3-year window and potential extensions. So when we talked to the team, the Department of State, we really wanted them to understand what was going on here. So they understood what we would need to do to coordinate this many projects at the same time, from an implementation side as well as from a financial side. The project of streetscaping at Station Plaza could be done anytime. The disadvantage of doing it sooner rather than later is that we do it and we lose the opportunity to maybe really maximize the look and flow of it and leverage some benefits. And this is,
I'm not disagreeing with you. What my question was pretty much, because you coordinated in 2 different projects, like you said, one could be done tomorrow if they really wanted to, in a way. But the other one is the unknown part.
Right.
So when we have the unknown part, it's really hard for us to communicate to the public, this is coming maybe this year.
So,
Yeah.
so it is gonna be, and we're gonna have that that's kind of unfortunately the situation we're in on a lot of things, because there are a lot of things that are outside our control that are, I think throughout the country delaying timing on projects and implementation of things like this. The good news is there's no downside for us like waiting to do this a little bit later. So as we're talking to the public, when we talk to the public, we'll be talking about the timing too. So we'll be saying, these are plans that we're doing. These are the ones that are happening first. We can't really do everything all at once anyway. So it's actually, as far as we staging, setting expectations, and obviously we hope to have more information on the situation with Con Ed within the, relatively near future. So we should be in good shape there to do things at a time, even if it's a little later than we thought we were going to be doing it. So I think that that sort of sums up a lot of the moving parts here, and we're also working on an interactive map of the projects that will really provide a lot more detail for people to look at and understand the projects. And the board's requested a visualization of how these things will interact and what how it will work, how they will work strategically, and a way to demonstrate the specifics for each project as well as the collective benefits, and talk about some of the other things that are happening in the downtown too, that may not be village projects, but will also be, changes on Main Street that hopefully will be able to really create a dynamic change that really benefits the community as well as the individual projects. So we're looking forward to being able to do that. We'll have that to the board. We have some concepts we'll probably run by you to directionally for a look and feel, and then we'll get to work on that. So
When are you gonna have that?
So Nelson Pope Voorhees is working on this. They gave us a couple of concepts and I think we were winnowing it down. So we hope to be able to show the board the winnowed down concepts based on the feedback that we've already gotten about how it is that you want to see it graphically demonstrated, I would say within the next week.
Yeah.
It's basically examples of communities, elsewhere in the United States who have done similar things. And it's all using an ArcGIS program. And so we've seen it, used a couple times before for a couple different projects on different grants that we've worked on in the past year. So it's going to be something that's going to be able to be easily updated, which is also something that the board had expressed an interest in. So if we have a new project, we can add it on. We won't have to start from whole cloth. And once something's completed, we can mark it, this is done, as opposed to in progress, as opposed to just getting started.
right, and it will live digitally. So we'll be able to, essentially the map will allow you to hover over certain projects, and then that will
You have
become,
the map of the village, maybe a little bit outside the village, and people could see it as it relates to each other.
Yep.
What's happening and maybe what phase it's in, ideation.
Yep.
There'll be the map that will, I think you were speaking about, to have everything laid out. The projects, what's happening with them, you'll probably code it somewhere like, ideation to permits, to groundbreaking, to, 50% complete, 80%, however, that kind of an idea, and all of it on the village map so people can see where they are. I'm curious if there was thought, once you do something like that, if there was thought to putting in the lobby over here, like a tied down laptop computer that can't be taken, so that when people come here, maybe they're not have their own laptops or computers, but when we show them things like that and they want to see it, that they can just bring it up. They could do it on their iPhone. It's just on iPhones, oftentimes these maps become difficult to see and read.
I think anything is possible. I think something that we talked about, I think it was like 2 weeks ago now with the folks who are doing the solar project at the operations center, is they want to sort of enhance their project's visibility, perhaps here or at the rec center, by putting in a flat screen television so you can sort of monitor how much solar is being generated and that kind of thing. So it kind of got us thinking about how we can maybe do a network of televisions like that and be showing different things so that when folks come to pay their taxes or water bill, they can say, oh, let me just stand here for a minute. I know the town hall in Cortland had something like that was quite popular. It was sort of just things on a loop. I think we can probably do something a little bit more jazzy than that.
It would be also, I love the idea that when people pay taxes and they come in here, which I guess I should draw the conclusion, but I may be wrong about that conclusion, that they're not real digital natives. But on the other hand, like some people just like to say hello to staff and they take the opportunity and they might be super sophisticated engineers. So I don't want to say that, but just I'm drawing some sort of a conclusion. I do think it's great when you pay taxes to see all the work being done, you know? But also just if, you know, Sue wants to show somebody a project. So instead of, and I think for employees, you have a number of staff members here, it would be good to see all the projects that are being done. I was thinking just the laptops, so somebody can just walk up to it. Because I thought in the building department, they put like a couple of years ago, maybe even longer, a computer so people can just go up to the computer, get their information, do like self-help. So putting our projects up there could just be our website if it's on our website, but at least bring it up and like, let's say a staff member wants to show somebody who has a question, or they say, oh, I heard you're tearing down the community center. No, we're actually building it up. This is what it's going to look like. This is really cool. And by the way, you know, it connects this and there's going to be parking. This how far, I mean, I think if we could do something. I mean, I love the flat screens, but I was going for a lesser, you know, box, but okay, something simpler. But I think it'll be helpful. If that can be done, I would personally find that helpful to people coming in the building. So, and then the map that you've been talking about that has all the projects could also be visible to anybody who wants to look at it, but also when they come in here, they can look at it and see what's going on.
Once in a while I get a win. But I'm glad to actually that I'm seeing that is in progress. And I like the concept that Maddie had on the TV screen. I think it will be useful, and not just for the projects. I think it could be useful for a lot of things, and just to highlight things sometimes, you know, something that happened. The challenge for me is obviously, as a lot of people know or aware, the first floor is open to the public in a way, but everything else is not. So if we have people watching the screens, it may get a little crowded at some point of time. So, you know, so maybe, I don't know.
The community center probably like offers more utility for that, and then we have more traffic there too. So we can look at a variety of things, but if we're looking at really getting the word out to the public.
I'm glad the map
community
is
center-
coming. You know,
Yeah.
I really, you know,
Even
the
if it's
TV
just
to
to
me is
start with
not,
here, yeah.
it's a, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
so
really cool,
we're-
but I prefer the map. Me personally, I like to be seeing that moving. You know, again, the TV is something that it's not, you know, it's irrelevant for I think the purpose. I think the purpose of the TV or the communication becomes in a bigger picture than just a map. So I'm good either way. That's what I think.
Cut me loose in a Best Buy. Don't challenge me with a good time.
I prefer a touchless, to believe it or not. You know, it goes to the concept of what Rika is talking about. It's like you can actually, you know, touch screen that you can just move around things. You know, you've seen that a lot in the city. You know, so yeah.
We can always research.
Thank you, Village Management Story.
No,
Do
no.
we have- No.
First, the trustees speak.
Oh,
They
okay.
go through the whole thing. Sometimes it's, you know, they get called, sometimes they just talk. When we're all done, I'll look
Then
at you and
got it.
I'll point it out. And, you know, I'll just, go right
It's
to
just
you.
taking your lead before when you told her she needed to keep you on track.
Yes,
So
No, it's good, it's good. Like, believe me, you're learning amazingly fast, so.
Thank
no,
you.
No worries, no worries.
you.
Were you saying something? Oh, you weren't, so she was actually, okay. Oh, okay. Okay,
All right. All right.
All
Thank
right.
you.
You're on.
Village Management, Karen Detory. We going to Corporation Council, Stuart Kahan.
Thank you. Thank you, Janet. Good evening. And folks, Monday night, there is a meeting of the Historic Preservation Commission. Quorum permitting, we are all hopeful. And it will deal with the Olive Opera House. So if anyone wants to be there, they can either watch via Zoom or they can attend in person at the Oxting Operations Center. I'm sure my bald head looks wonderful with the shining.
with the one right over you is not working, so
Well,
lucky you.
perfect. That's what we like. On a more serious note, the building department, with the assistance of the police department and the village clerk, has been checking on numerous businesses in the village that do not have the required refreshment license, cabaret, and/or laundromat licenses. So this week, code enforcement officers have begun issuing orders to remedy, which we know as OTRs, to these various locations to get these done. And I have a list here of about 23 that we have noted that do not have those licenses. Most of them are the refreshment licenses that we do not have. And again, my thanks to Chief Sylvester, Lieutenant Donahue, the folks at OPD for helping us out with this, and with the building department. We have communicated not only with the property owner, not only with the business, but we are also sending a copy of each of the OTRs to the property owner. So for example, in the case of Arcadian, where there are a number of these establishments, we've communicated with the folks at Erstad Biddle so that they can be aware that their tenants are not in compliance with the village code. And I do want to say that from that perspective, Erstad Biddle has been very, very responsive in terms of getting that stuff done. So for those folks who have those kind of businesses and they don't have those licenses, do not be surprised. You will be getting an OTR within the next few weeks. I think the first 7 or 8 have already been issued. So they will start coming up. It's real simple. Just apply for the license. You'll get the license. And there's no need for a court appearance or anything like that whatsoever. So
But your license that you're applying for, who's checking that what they're applying, what the store's applying for is what they're actually doing? How does that work?
well, if they are doing a refreshment license, there's a whole check by the building department. There's a whole application process. If there's fees owed, the finance department gets involved. If there's an issue involving the police get involved. So the application requires all of them to do it. It's what we have is a combined license application for like 5 or 6 different types of licenses. So it's all checked, but the refreshment license seems to be the one that there's the most slippage on, is probably the best way to say it. So what we're doing is we're going to those various businesses and essentially saying, get the license. And that's, this came to our attention initially because we have a number of locations that not only were acting as refreshment businesses, but were also serving alcohol without a license, which in itself is a whole other violation. So all of those places in particular were issued citations, which are returnable in court in March. But with regard to all the different other establishments, we checked them out. Many of them, I want to point out, particularly in the case of the laundromats, they do this as a matter of course. They know just to file, they do it, they take care of it. But we do have some that either forget or just don't realize they're supposed to do it. Some are brand new businesses and it's brought to their attention. But in any event, they are checked by, as I said, clerk's office, finance, building, and police. So there are multiple checks before they, ultimately are asked to come to me to see, can they actually issue the license? So I just sort of a word to the wise for those folks. You'll be hearing from the building department. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Corporation Counsel. We have Police Chief Kevin Sylvester.
Good evening, everybody. My notes have disappeared here. Hold on one moment.
How you feeling?
I'm well, thank you. Trying to do the best I can here. All right, so here's what's going on in the police department. We've survived our one and only winter storm for the year, uneventful, a few minor accidents, but nothing remarkable to report. When we met 2 weeks ago, we discussed the implementation of some new Axon technologies. That was our big project for the year. All of our supervisors have now been through training for the accountability software. And the upgrade for us now is that every supervisor will be tasked with reviewing a certain number of randomized videos each day in order to ensure both that cameras are functional, that officers are using the technology appropriately, and then while they're on it, that policies and procedures are being followed. Important to note that those cameras are generally not used as a mechanism to directly supervise by just watching video. They're certainly good for review purposes, but this accountability training is to ensure that the cameras are going on. Supervisors are always encouraged to go out and be on scene with officers and be supervising in person when they have the ability to. Those body-worn cameras are now also fully functional with GPS. In our desk area, you can now view every officer while they're working in real time. And our virtual training is set to begin over the next couple of weeks with Axon flying in their team to begin setting up our instructors to be teaching that. Saturday, we had a number of alerts for a reported day of hate that was being shared nationwide. We had directed patrols at our Jewish facilities in town. Glad to report nothing remarkable taking place there. Next week, I'll be attending a meeting of the Safety Committee for the Jewish Council of Westchester to discuss this incident and others that have recently gone on. Our big enforcement initiative right now, in addition to the things we're doing with code enforcement, is strategic enforcement for traffic. As you see from time to time, we have emails from residents who are concerned about traffic in their neighborhoods. So we are taking our Governor's Traffic Safety Committee grant money and targeting that specifically at our locations with the highest volumes of crashes. Not many secrets to expose there. Our highest volumes of crashes are on our roads with the highest volumes of traffic. So while it oftentimes feels like there's traffic issues in different places, the large portion of our traffic problems do in fact occur on the places with the most vehicles in motion. Tuesday, we'll say goodbye to Officer Michael Giuliano, who has resigned. He's accepted a position with the Briarcliff Manor Police Department, tremendous asset to our department over the past few years, and we'll miss him dearly. With that, that will bring us to 6 vacancies. So I do intend to come to the board very soon to discuss hiring. Right now, we're working very closely with the personnel director. She has attended training together with our staff on the hiring process and what happens from here when we start to, what we're finding countywide is that agencies are starting to run out of candidates on local lists. So should that happen, we want to get ahead of that and understand exactly what happens so that we can be prepared for all contingencies. 6 is a lot of openings for us right now. So we're excited to come to the board and discuss options for filling all of those spots. Our last group of hires will complete field training, hopefully in the next week or 2. They are scheduled to finish in the next 2 weeks. If everybody's set and ready to go, we'll wrap them up and graduate them, and they'll be set to be full duty. And that is it for the police department tonight. Thanks.
Thank you. Any comments?
No, we don't comment.
Okay, organizational announcements. Is there any announcements?
You see anybody, Jamie? Oh,
Sorry. So there are some people, but it doesn't look like anyone's raising their hands.
okay.
Public comment on agenda items. We are allowed 1 minute, 4-minute opportunity to address any board of any resolutions of the agenda.
See
If you'd
anything?
like to raise your hand, we'll bring you over. I don't think anyone wants to do that today.
Okay.
Okay.
Visitor recognition.
Again, there's nobody
No.
here, so we can only go to the screen. Jamie?
Hope no one is raising their hands.
Okay, then.
Okay. So village board resolutions. Approval of minutes, February 15, 2023. Resolved that the Board of Trustee of Village of Austin hereby approves the minutes of February 15, 2023 regular meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any comments on the board?
Approval voucher detail.
No.
All those in favor? I'm sorry.
Aye. You got to mark it down so you have it for your
Yep,
notes.
mhm.
Okay.
Approval of voucher details, March 1st, 2023, resolved that the Board of Trustee of the Village of Boston hereby approves the voucher detail report dated March 1st, 2023 in the amount of $696,247.19. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Any comments? It's a nice chunky amount over there.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution approving 2023 cover license for Grace Hall LTD, 7 Old Albany Post Road, Austin, New York. Whereas pursuing chapter 100 and 171 of the Code of the Village of Austin Code, the authorized representative of the business Grace Hall LTD, 7 Old Albany Post Road, Austin, New York, presented an application to the village clerk as licensing officer of the cover license for live music, including DJ, and resolved that the application by Grace Hall LTD, 7 Old Albany Post Road, Austin, New York, for a cover license for 2023 is approved as follows. Days and hours, Friday, 7 p.m. until 11 p.m., Saturday and Sunday, 12 p.m. until 11 p.m., type of entertainment, up to 5 performers and DJ. Do I have a motion?
So move.
You have to do the result or no?
That was the result.
So I resolved that pursuant to section 100.
Nope, not
Okay.
necessary.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Comments?
All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Resolution approving 2023 cover license for Austining Raz LLC doing business as 3 Westerly Bar and Grill, 3 Westerly Road, Austining, New York. We're pursuing chapter 100 and 171 of the Code of the Village of Austining Code to authorize representative of the business in Austining Res LLC doing business as 3 Westerly Bar and Grill, 3 Westerly Road, Austining, New York, has presented an application to the village clerk and licensing officers, a licenses officer for a cover license, and resolve the pursuant to the code of the Board of Trustees hereby approves a cover license for 2023 for Austining Res LLC doing business as 3 Westerly Bar and Grill as follow. Days and hours, Friday and Saturday, 12 p.m. to 1 a.m., Sunday through Thursday, 12 p.m. to midnight. Type of music, record music only. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Any comments?
Yes.
All in favor?
No, no.
Aye.
No, no.
One sec.
Stuart, oh, never mind. I see the
You see it?
dates. Yeah, I see the
Okay.
dates. Never mind.
For a minute, I totally see what you saw.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
Janet?
Sorry.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Abstain or recuse? What did you do last? Does it matter?
Does it matter if I abstain or recuse?
Abs-
So you would do.
That's
No,
Stuart.
right ahead.
No, Stuart,
please.
abstain or
No,
recuse?
You recuse from the matter, you can abstain from the vote.
Job here, I'm sorry.
You've recused from this particular vote. So essentially, it's a recusal. So
Recuse.
Settlement workers' compensation and demanding claim. Resolved that the following review by the Corporation Council, the village manager is authorized to sign document settling the intimate portion of the workers' compensation keys 3080-1822. Do we have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Any comments? Janet?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Adoption of local law 2/2023, a local law amending chapter 250 vehicles and traffic of the Village of Austining Code. Whereas the Board of Trustee of the Village of Austining Village Board has been considering the adoption of the proposed local law 2023 titled a local law amending chapter 250 vehicles and traffics in the Village of Austining Code. And whereas a public hearing was conducted on February 15, 2023 at 7:30 p.m. at the Municipal Building, 16 Cross Avenue, Austining, New York, and via Zoom platform, affording members of the public an opportunity to be heard. And whereas the public hearing was closed on February 15, 2023, and whereas there is no impediments to approving local law 2 of 2023, now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees and the Village of Austining hereby adopts local law 2 of 2023 and directs that sale local law to be filed and distributed in accordance with the applicable law, and be further resolved that local law 2 2023 shall become effective 60 days after filing with the Secretary of the State pursuant of the Municipal Home Rule Law. Do you have a roll call?
first to have to make the motion.
Yep. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Any comments?
All in
Janet?
favor?
No,
Now-
no,
Now you take the
now.
roll call.
Not
Now it's the roll call.
You're
Learning.
fine. You're doing
learning.
fine. No worries. In
Okay,
10 years, it'll be perfect. not
Trustee
to worry.
Pritchard.
Aye.
Okay, trustee White,
Aye.
trustee Quesada,
Aye.
okay, DP Lopez,
Aye.
You need to ask the mayor.
Mayor
Mayor
Levin.
Levin. IMAs for enhanced 911 service, resolved that the following review by the Corporation Council, the village manager is authorized to sign an intermunicipal agreement with Westchester County for enhanced 911 service for the term of October 1st, 2022 to September 30, 2027. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? I just have one comment, Karen. At some point, no emergency, of pardon the pun. I'd be curious, just intellectually curious, it could even be an email, how many 911 calls and how they're done from Ossining. I've just never seen a number anywhere, and I don't know if they look at, is it done by the zip code? Is it here? I'm just curious how many calls
The
we,
the chief is on, so maybe he can.
oh, the chief might know. Oh, interesting. Okay, chief.
Yeah, it's,
I
I'm the
didn't-
911 guy. Hi, everybody.
You're not here in person, so I'm not looking
Yeah.
up. Do you
So
happen to
not,
have
if
some
you,
idea?
if you dial 911 from a landline, you'll be routed to your PSAP, your public safety answering point. So if you dial from a landline that's within our geographic area of employment, it'll be routed here. If you dial from a cell phone, you're going to be routed to the Traffic Management Center, New York State Police down in Hawthorne, based on what cell phone tower you hit. If it's in this region, it's going to go there. They then triage the call and forward it on to wherever it needs to go, whether it's fire control for a medical emergency, if it's police departments, whatever it is that you might need if you've got a fire. So that's how it goes. So we wouldn't necessarily have the number of 911 calls that come into the TMC. We don't know. And that's the majority of the calls these days. Years ago, they were all coming in on landlines. Now they're almost exclusively cell phones. I could look and see if there's a way to track how many 911 calls we take, but I'll have to see.
I'm just interested in how many come from Ossining. How's the contract done? Is it done? It's a flat rate for 911? Like, how does that work? If it's not done, it can't any longer be done. How many calls come from Ossining, since I'm hearing you couldn't really
Well,
track that?
This, and Chief, correct me, this IMA is to provide services. There's no fee to the village on this, except the village
Right.
provides the location, you know, is the PSAP chief. I think I'm using the wrong initials. But so it's not,
Okay.
there's
all
no,
right.
there's no fee in that regard. This is Verizon and another company, I think called Carousel, through the county will be providing this equipment.
Okay.
And
got
so
it.
that's how that works.
But we
Correct.
do contract for 911 actually for calls, no? Does the municipality do that?
Is,
I'm sorry, I'm not close enough. Does the municipality, who pays for 911 for the actual service?
We
of
pay for the
911?
phone lines that come into the building, but the 911 IMA pays for all of the equipment and the maintenance on the lines that are 911 themselves.
Okay. Thank you.
But nobody's paying 5 cents a call anymore. It's whatever the cost of a phone line is, what the cost of a phone line is.
It's all hardwired hardware. It's not.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do you have any continuing business on the board?
Any continuing business? Okay.
No, new business on the board?
Any new business, folks?
No. Do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting, to executive meeting?
for executive session for a matter of litigation, please.
So moved. Second.
Janet? You have to.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Let's go a little faster. Get in there. Okay.
You don't have to do it quickly. You're doing great. Don't worry about it. In fact, we should stall a little bit because it's so early for us. So.
Somebody's ready for bed, I can see.
No. Okay, I'm
Okey dokey.
just so. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Welcome, Janet, to
Thank you
officially to
very much.
the group. I'm sure we will be seeing you often. Did
For
great.
sure.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Thank you very much.
Yep, yep. You know, we
Try
get
my
used to,
best.
we get used to one person and it's all of a sudden new people, but this is great. New is good, new is good. I'm very happy to welcome you. You have big shoes to fill, just saying. Anyway, it's 8:25. I thank everyone for being here. We will see you again next Wednesday. This is 5 Wednesdays in this month. So just a reminder, the board does not meet on a 5th Wednesday of the month. So just a quick reminder there. Thank you, everyone, and meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.